LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing, co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the program. Glad you could join us. It's Bristol, baby! We're racing on that high-banked half mile. Glad you could join us. Todd Bailing in Phoenix, Arizona for the last time this year. Joined by my three co-hosts, starting with downtown Ootsburg's own Brian Schmidt.
Good morning. Yes, got to actually see some race cars on the track with my own eyes yesterday, live and in person. You could smell it. You could hear it. It was great. That means spring is almost here.
There you go. And
other than the fact that it was snowing the other day. So,
yeah, at least we have that going for us, right? Consistency in weather. Over on the mighty Mississippi River on the other side of the state, our own PJ Noodleman. Did you go to the Dells?
I was not able to go to the Dells, but I did watch it, streaming it, and hopefully today's race at Bristol will not be as wreck-filled as the Dells were yesterday.
And if you watched it, that means you watched the outstanding camera work of our own producer, Dan Margetta of St. Francis. Hi, Dan.
Hey, and there's like four camera guys on there, camera people on that broadcast. So, yeah, did a pretty good job on that. And Bristol today, now, did I see that right in practice? The tires are wearing pretty much, and it's kind of like last year's Bristol Spring Race, which was kind of a mess with the tire wearing out, but it was a kind of cool race to watch.
Yeah, how about that? It's kind of exciting to me that it's eating up tires. First of all, the sticky crap that they put on the racetrack that they named after our own PJ Noodleman, only they call it PJ1, is only on the very bottom of the track. If you want to get sticky, you're going to have to go really low. And I guess they know what they're doing because, the racing at Bristol is legendary, or it was at one time. We're trying to get back to that legendary status once again. So Alex Bowman on the pole, 128.675 miles per hour. He did it in 1491 to get around it. It will be televised today on FS1. You better have satellite or cable or you won't be able to see it. The green flag is at 2:11 this afternoon. Looks like they're going to get it in really perfect conditions. It sounds a lot like the Dells yesterday. 60s with a 0% chance of precipitation. And my concern, and Brian, maybe you want to jump in on this. If it's on FS1, it's owned by Fox. Fox is the new home for IndyCar racing, and Fox, in its infinite wisdom, has decided to compete with itself today.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like chewing a hand off of your arm. I don't quite understand that. I don't know how they're doing this because you have lots of time here between like noon and whenever to start Bristol, and Bristol's in the Eastern time zone, so one would think it would make sense to start that so that race ends and you could have the IndyCar race on after it for people like me who like to watch it all. But when they were competing networks, when it was NBC and Fox, they didn't run it head-to-head. Long Beach was always later in the day you'd be able to see it. Not today. So
now, that just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
But, hey, they know what they're doing.
You have to look at the guide and see what they have on. I mean, last week they had bowling on before the race. I don't know if bowling has big ratings or what, but...
In some circles it does, buddy. We used to have the Bowling Congress Hall of Fame in Milwaukee. That's something, ain't it? As you may have heard the words tire wear a couple of minutes ago, this will be a race where they're going to have to manage their tires. And that's, I think that's great because even though your car goes away in a hurry, it's all about how you manage your tires. The new kids that just came on the block, which there's not that many anymore in the big series, obviously, are going to have to manage their tires. Some drivers are much better than others at managing. And who did I see is going to be short one set of tires. I think it's Kyle Busch who flat spotted them somehow in qualifying, and they have to start on those tires. I'm not sure. I was at the Brewer game the last 2 nights. One was good, one was bad. So it was difficult to see what the heck was going on. This tire thing to me is a blessing. Why are we chewing up tires? Is that an old surface, or did the dirt do something to it?
Yeah, it's concrete, and when it's colder temperatures like this, it's weird, Dan, because they don't have this problem in fall, right? We had no tire wear at all in fall, and now we have it in spring, and now for the second year in a row, it seems like that. The surface isn't different. It has to do with the weather, don't you think?
That's what I was thinking. That's the only difference between the two. I mean, it's 49 degrees yesterday. It's cooler, so that chew the tires up. That might be a little bit warmer today, but in the fall we have a lot warmer temperatures, and it doesn't seem to eat them up as much. That's got to be what it is, because that's the only difference between the two races.
Yeah.
And you have the same amount of laps on the track beforehand, because this year both the trucks and the Xfinity Series are there. First time that's happened. And in fall, you always have the trucks and the Xfinity Series before the Cup race. So, if anything, this would be closer to the fall event with the laps on the track, and that doesn't seem to be making a difference.
Well, let's just hope that the tire wear in the cooler temperatures makes for good racing. That's all we really want, a good show. It was not a good show at Darlington last week until the last 2 laps. That was a long race to put viewers through, to have such a absolutely crappy event. William Byron, as we saw, just checked out and dominated, and you thought, well, maybe they'll have a good finish. They a lot of times have a good finish because there's always a mystery caution late in the race. Not so much mystery. It's just coincidental that we have a late caution, I'm sure. It was not a surprise that all of a sudden we get bunched up at the end, and of all things, Denny Hamlin, surprise, is your winner. What did he lead, 1 lap or 2 in that event?
The only one that mattered.
Yeah.
And at the very end, it did get exciting because you had Ryan Blaney chase down and pass Tyler Reddick to get the lead, because Byron had a bad pit stop. That's what kind of screwed him up and put him behind. It wasn't really even bad. It was just the timing of the green flag pit stop that he waited an extra lap, and those other guys on the new tires were able to make up that much time to get ahead of him, and his pit stop was, I don't know, like a half a second slower than the other ones. But then to see Blaney be able to chase down and pass Reddick, that was pretty cool to see, but then the caution put it all for naught because Bubba punted Kyle Larson.
Thanks, Bubba. Thanks a lot. Yeah. My guy should have won, but thanks to Brian picking Denny Hamlin, he won.
Why would it have been that Kyle Larson got off the gas so quickly?
Because the 60 car got in the fence right in front of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he saw the 60 hit the fence, thought he was coming off the wall, so he checked up a lot more than the 23 expected.
Conspiracy theorists? Anyone? No? Just bad timing?
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to think that maybe Kyle might have. If you want to go conspiracy, maybe he wanted to help give William Byron a shot yet. But I doubt that. Kyle would rather win himself.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, strange for Darlington. The stats at Darlington: 4 leaders among 4 drivers, and there were only 4 lead changes. Byron led lap 1 through 243. Hamlin led 244 to 247. And then he led 292 to 297. Okay. But only 4 different leaders and only 4 lead changes. Ouch.
Yeah.
So were we happy with the race then?
The race itself, probably not. Brian, an easy fix or no?
It's a car thing, I think. I still think it's a car.
Tell you what, Brian, this is good. Hold that thought. We'll use this opportunity to sneak away. Brian has an easy fix for this. It's nothing new. We just need to be reminded once in a while how we could fix this, and it wouldn't be any hair off of NASCAR's ass. We could just do it. All they have to do is pull the trigger, and it could be done. We're happy you're tuned in, and we hope you come back with us.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years, PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Chimney Mechanics installs and services wood, natural gas, propane, pellet stoves, and chimneys. We service all of Wisconsin, the UP, and Northern Illinois. We repair all brands and all models of fireplaces, no matter where you bought it. We do custom chimney caps, liners, chimney fire repairs, water and stonework, water leak repairs, and replacement dampers. We do new construction and insurance work. No job is too big or too small. ChimneyMechanics.com. That's Chimney Mechanics with an X. Check us out on Facebook.
Don't miss your shot to win $1,000 in bonus bucks.
Bonus bucks.
Listen every hour, weekdays between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Bonus bucks.
When you hear the nationwide keyword, enter it at our website.
Brought to you locally by ARR Recycling. Recycling pays. Go to ARR with your recyclable copper, brass, lead, steel, or aluminum and get cash. Visit them at ARR1938.com or stop in to their West Allis or Waukesha location. ARR Recycling. Since 1938.
Welcome back to the program. Glad you could join us. We're trying this Zoom thing for the first time. It's very exciting because it's so different for us. You may think it sounds the same, but I'm guessing there's music playing here, and I just missed it, which is, we'll get that fixed. We're working on it. It's all good. It was a week full of prominent folks that passed away. Al Pierce, he's been the Auto Week NASCAR editor for many years, a writer for many, many years. He passed away at age 82. A truck owner, along with McAnally Racing, apparently, Shigi Hattori, who's been around, crossed over the center line and got killed, 61 years old. I'm always suspicious. Did you have a medical thing, or did you just want to pull the plug on yourself?
Or did you fall asleep?
Or did you fall asleep? Or were you inattentive? Or did you have a telephone in your hand? That's how that works. And I guess the biggest surprise of the week, 53-year-old John Edwards, who has been the director of communications at Hendrick forever. He was with Jeff Gordon from about the time he came over to Hendrick and stuck around, and he's been Kyle Larson's PR guy, dies at 53. When I don't know if they'll say, but when you hear stuff like that, you gotta think it could be a heart issue. It almost got me at 55, but of course, that was a long time ago. So.
Well, and the car for Cup is not really on life support, but it's getting there. And we were talking with Brian about fixing it.
Yeah, Brian?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. And I think, the reason you're seeing the racing you're seeing is because you're not allowing these cars to have, it's three things. I think three major things. And if you tried each one of them separately, we could find out which one would make it work. First, let them have the full horsepower of the motors. We've talked about that many times. The drivers have said it a lot. That would give more throttle response, make the car more reactive to it, make you have to drive it better. Secondly, get back to the old 4-speed transmission in these cars so they're not shifting all the time during laps. I think that would also change the way the racing is, make your closing rates better, make you have to brake more, use the brake more. And thirdly, get back to the same tire that you had for the Xfinity and the Truck Series. This wider, low-profile tire that you have on the Cup car doesn't seem to be conducive to the good racing that you see in both the Xfinity and the Truck Series. Because you look at their races have been pretty good. Yesterday was kind of a stinker because Larson was that much better than everybody. But for the most part, the last several years, the Xfinity Series has outdone the Cup Series in the competitiveness of their races by a lot.
From what I understand, it would not be difficult to increase the horsepower on these cars, right?
No, that would probably be the cheapest of them all. Yeah, I think it's like nothing more than maybe a computer setting on their way they do their motors or tune them or something.
I understand they want to keep it competitive, PJ,
but that's something too. I think a lot of the drivers have been beating the drum on too. I mean, hasn't that been something Denny Hamlin has been extolling on his podcast?
Yes.
Also, Brian, that transmission thing, it seems to me anyway that would be kind of a linked arm in arm with the horsepower thing. If you got that much more horsepower, it's going to cut down on the need for all that shifting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you give them more horsepower and you have the sequential gearbox in it, they may shift a little bit. The shifting may be a little bit different, but you're still going to have the shifting going on because you have that many more gears. You get back to the way the Xfinity car is set up, and the only place you're shifting with an Xfinity car is on a road course, which is what it should be. It makes it more in the driver's hands. You got to brake. It's the way you brake. It's the way you get on the throttle. It just makes it more of a driving short track type thing. I mean, when you think of short track racing, you don't think of shifting, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what they do at Martinsville. It's crazy.
I know, Martin. The shortest track there is, and they shift 4 times a lap for 500 laps. Think about that for a second. It's crazy. We mentioned Alex Bowman is on the pole. It's not really unlikely, I would say, because it's a Hendrick car. What might be considered unlikely is Ricky Stenhouse is going to start from the outside of the front row. Unlikely? Well, he doesn't do it very often. He's not prolific. 500 laps here may or may not be a thing for Ricky Stenhouse. I don't believe he'll be around at the end. Kyle Larson starts third. I'm going to go way out on a limb and say, as far as the odds go, I didn't see him, but if that doesn't make him the favorite, he's right up there. And Hamlin fourth. Oh my goodness! And looking at it, seventh is Christopher Bell. I'm afraid we're going to see the same old folks, but that's how it works. A little bit. These are the ones. That's your stars. The debut of former Slinger Speedway feature winner Jesse Love is today. Not a bad starting spot, really, right in the middle of the pack at 19th. Our friend Josh Bilicki is in the race today, one of his rare starts in the 66 car. It's a backmarker thing. You shouldn't look for it. But here's what I find to be kind of interesting. Josh is that marketing genius. He goes out and finds sponsors. I'm not sure how the hell he got Manscaped. And if you don't know what that is, it's an electric pubic hair trimmer.
Oh,
ooh la la.
Exactly what we got on the side of the car. Now, that can go down in the Hall of Fame along with Dude Wipes, Boudreaux's butt paste,
underalls,
Sterling Marlin had underalls, and of course, Viagra. There's so much stuff going on below the belt here with sponsorship. We just got to keep track of it. But good luck in the pubic hair trimmer 66 car that's called Manscaped.
Well, maybe people want to shave their chest too. Some guys like to have a smooth chest.
Okay.
Or maybe their back. It could be.
And Josh has nice company. Right in front of him is our defending Cup Series champion, Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Follow him to the front.
Logano he smacked the wall in qualifying. There was a couple issues. Kyle Busch. I did not see qualifying. I just read a little about it, and I see that Kyle Busch also had a problem there. So for a guy that's trying to win for the first time in a long time and at a track that he is historically great at, that's not what he needed. The good news is that he'll start in the middle of the pack at 15th, so not really all that bad. So we can go on. This is always fun when they go to Bristol. You'll notice there's no dirt on the track. That's kind of nice. They scraped that off, and it was an experiment, and it was something we tried, and it was a Easter night. Remember that? And then we had all that dust and the lights and the sun coming down and blah, 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 blah. We're back to racing again. Concrete, the bottom couple of feet are all that have this PJ1 sticky stuff on it. Should be a good show. We're happy you joined us. We're going to take a break and be right back.
From
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs, all backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
The Mark Belling podcast debuts on May 1st. No holds barred, freewheeling, and going after topics the mainstream media won't touch. Conservative? Yes. Intelligent? You betcha. Freewheeling? I don't know any other way. 35 years on the radio transitions to my first year in the brave new world of podcasting. The Mark Belling Podcast on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcast. May 1st. Talk to you then.
And welcome back to LTN. All right, so, our legal expert, and we don't have a legal expert, but Dan is as close as we get to legal experts. Right now, there's a couple things. The 2311 appeal hearing is next. That's coming up on the 9th of next month. But before that, there's big drama with this charter that Rick Ware has. He apparently has at least one of these two charters is leased to the Roush freaking Keselowski number 60 car. And so that's how they are competing with that charter right now. But apparently there was some sort of agreement, and Dan, you can fill me in on this, with Jimmy Johnson and his legacy deal, that they were going to sell the charter over there for, get this, $45 million. Where the hell did that number come from? I guess it's pretty valuable having one of those charters, huh?
Sure looks like it. I mean, if it's up to $45 million now, especially when they got handed out for nothing back in 2016.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and you got to wonder, that if Toyota needs one that bad, I guess they must have enough drivers coming up, like maybe Corey Heim or something that maybe needs a charter somewhere to put in there. Maybe looking at that. I'm not sure where all that money is coming from. It's got to be Toyota from that legacy team. But the interesting thing there is they leased that charter to the 60 car in Roush Fenway this year. And you can only lease a charter for 1 year. So after that first year, you're done leasing. You either got to buy it or go lease another one. Well, there's not many out there left to lease. So I'm thinking they probably were thinking they were going to buy that charter. And then Toyota money came in, and it's $45 million. It's like, whoa, are they going to up that? I mean, was Rick Ware going to maybe get more for it? Why he doesn't want to sell it now? Or he has one for the 51 car, but that if you got rid of that one, then you're pretty much done as a team. You're not really going to survive.
Yeah, but
so what does he do?
$45 million.
That's crazy. And in the restraining order that came out this week, pretty much says that they can't do anything with that charter
for 10 days only, though.
10 days, yeah. So I mean, there was some kind of a stop on that. So it's held up in court that way. First, I saw restraining order. I thought, what is this? The 51 and the can't get within 5 spots, the 42 and the 43, and what's going on? Let's use restraining orders and stay away from it.
It's crazy. Just a basic rule of business: price is determined by supply and demand. You don't have very many charters, and you got two teams pretty much fighting over this one. But he agreed to sell it to me for that much. Yeah, but if he didn't have it in writing, a verbal commitment, wow, back in the day, we were good with a handshake. Well, that was before we had too many lawyers.
Or before things were sold for millions of dollars.
Yeah. NASCAR still hasn't figured out how to get their hooks into that. Watch, there'll be a new rule. NASCAR will be awarded 10% of any exchange of charters or something. That'll be coming.
I mean, think about it, though. There's not many left that are really out there for sale anymore, unless some major team loses the car or gets out of it. I mean, the ones that were kind of the back marker, so to say, are kind of dwindling down. There's not many of those left. So what's
you can't call Spire a back marker exactly anymore.
No. And what happens if this other lawsuit gets done by the end of the year and NASCAR loses and says, well, goodbye charters? Well, then they're all worth nothing.
And that could happen. NASCAR, how are they fighting over this and trying to outbid each other when we really, the supply and demand argument is one thing, but if the whole thing goes away, that means we'll go to zero demand, and so price would be non-existent. I don't know, guys. Okay, stay tuned. This is going to be interesting stuff. Before we're done, is NASCAR going to just throw away the charter system? And boy, there's going to be some pissed off people if that happens. I just spent $40 million. Well, you shouldn't have then. You knew what could happen. God. So there's that to think about. This, of course, is Palm Sunday. Next week is Easter Sunday, meaning the Cup Series is going to take their 1 week off this season. However, the Xfinity and the Truck Series are going to go to the recently repaved Rockingham track. Do we know, has there been any testing? Do we have any idea how fast they're going to be going on that hair over 1 mile track?
Yeah, they tested there about a month ago, I believe it was. It was a 2-day test. One day they had a little bit of weather, so they didn't get the full day. And I talked to Luke Fenhouse about it a little bit yesterday because he's going to run that race next week, and he said it is going to be just badass fast. I mean,
neat,
faster than any in the Truck Series. New pavement, something they've never experienced there. Talking with Toby a little bit yesterday too. He said the same thing that Ty said, that his truck was really good there as well. But the speeds are going to be just remarkable. So it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully it's not too fast that you can't pass. That's the worry. The ARCA Series is also there. So by the time the Xfinity cars get on there should be a lot of laps. A little worried about
the oil on the track.
Yeah, a little worried about the Truck Series because they're the first one to run their race. They race at, I think it's like 5 o'clock Friday evening, and there's no lights there. So they're going to be running right up against, the daylight hours. But TV dictates all that. But hopefully by the time the Xfinity Series gets out there, there'll be enough rubber down on the racetrack that it'll be some conducive racing. Because I always loved that track, but it was always a tire management race, and I don't think we're going to have that.
If I remember right, is this the track that Casey Kane is coming back for? I think he's going to race. I have to look in my notes, but I think he's coming back to race.
I think it is.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's good stuff. It was always a neat track, just a little bit over a 1 mile track and high banked, and now with fresh blacktop, it'll be one hell of a show, that's for sure.
And looking at the sales for the tickets, now they don't have the backstretch grandstands and the grandstands in turns 1 and 2 like they had before. A lot of those have been sold over the years and moved to other locations, but the entire front stretch is still there, and there are a lot of tickets sold for this race. So it looks like you're going to have a really good crowd for both Friday and Saturday. So that's good to see.
Excellent stuff. We're happy you're tuned in. We're going to sneak away for a break and be back with more good stuff. Hang in there.
Miller
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Chimney Mechanics installs and services wood, natural gas, propane, pellet stoves, and chimneys. We service all of Wisconsin, the UP, and Northern Illinois. We repair all brands and all models of fireplaces, no matter where you bought it. We do custom chimney caps, liners, chimney fire repairs, water and stonework, water leak repairs, and replacement dampers. We do new construction and insurance work. No job is too big or too small. ChimneyMechanics.com. That's Chimney Mechanics with an X. Check us out on Facebook.
2-on-1 all of a sudden. Left circle, Denisenko. Right shot and goal! The Milwaukee Admirals will meet the Rockford Ice Hogs in the final regular season matchup between the teams at Panther Arena Sunday. Here with a slapper. Scored! Pre-game coverage at 3:30. Face-off at 4 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And welcome back. Glad you could join us. They're talking about Matt Weaver, who's on top of things. He gets people whispering in his ear. He put out this week that there's going to be a non-NASCAR-owned track that is going to be repaved and get the Atlanta treatment, which turns that, of course, into a super speedway. Atlanta was a 1.5 mile, or is a 1.5 mile track. So it can go that fast, but everybody immediately thought it was going to be Homestead. That's a NASCAR track, isn't it?
Well, it started out, sometimes if you go through like the Reddit online stuff, you see all kinds of crazy rumors and all kinds of things come up there. And that's kind of where it started, that it was going to be a track, was going to get every configuration like Atlanta. It was going to be a 1.5 mile track that produces good finishes and good racing people like. And that's why people started going to Homestead. Well, then the NASCAR official came out and said, I think it was Mike Ford, came out and said, well, all I can say about that is it's not a NASCAR track. So in other words, people are thinking, well, maybe there is some truth to this. It must be an SMI track then.
Yeah.
Right. So that leaves you with, if you look at the SMI tracks, the 1.5 miles that are available to do this with, you have Vegas, which I don't think, if there's a possibility of Vegas hosting the championship race down the road, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, I don't think you want that track to be like Atlanta, right? A crapshoot, quote-unquote, drafting race? No. So then that leaves Texas, which a lot of people think about and agree that Texas needed some work. The new car race is a little better on Texas now than the old car did. You had the closest finish in the history of NASCAR last year with the Xfinity race there. There's one other track out there that probably nobody's thinking about that SMI owns. It's Kentucky. Kentucky's just sitting there. The racing there was god-awful, always. Is that a place that you think they want to, start racing there again and maybe open that market and think about racing? That part of the country, really, you got Indianapolis and you got Bristol, kind of within the realm of it. But
I agree 100% about that part of it. But of course, being an SMI track, they're going to have to take a date away from themselves somewhere else.
Right. So you have 2 races at Atlanta. You have a race at Texas, but the date, SMI's date, is the one that's at COTA. So you have 2 of those. So you kind of have 4 races at 2 different locations to play with if you were to go back to Kentucky. This is just me thinking off the cuff here, because it's going to take a while to do this. So do you want to do it at a track that you currently race at? Texas races, later in the year. Are you going to have time to do it? If you go to a track that's currently not being used, spruce it up, get it configured how you want it. I mean, all the stands are still there. They didn't take anything away, and then roll out at the new track. I don't know. Just thinking.
Hello, Todd. It's it's SMI and NASCAR, and we're just want your opinion on what you think we should do. Well, I think you should get rid of that COTA race because I think we have enough road courses, and I think you ought to let's go to Kentucky. Why not? You got a nice track there. Cincinnati's a nice market. Why not? Middle of the country. Everybody can go.
Has lights. Place has lights.
Oh, that's right. But Todd, parking, as you remember, was a Charlie Foxtrot. Well, yeah, I know. But, you got a lot of time to get that figured out, don't you? It didn't work last time. Well,
figure it out.
You got time to work on it. Here's plus NASCAR. We kind of knew this, that NASCAR has their own series that races in Mexico. That way they get to own it, see. The NASCAR Mexico Series. And I don't know how many races they have. You don't hear much about it, really. You don't hear who the winners are. They don't talk about it up here. They don't publicize anything. Is it one race? Is it more than one race? Well, whatever it is, they're expanding. They're going to Panama.
Panama?
So
they have racetracks
it's going to
in
happen
Panama?
in September. We know there's going to be a race there in September. It's the Mexican drivers are going to race in Panama. Are there any Panamanian race car drivers?
Is there a racetrack there?
Is there a racetrack there?
Dan, do you know of a racetrack in Panama?
Nope. I know a canal's there, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But they'll have a heck of a music for it with Van Halen.
What, he's there?
No. Panama.
That'll be the pre-race concert.
Van Halen's in Mexico. Sorry, he's over at Cabo San Lucas. Well, anyway, we'll see how this. I'm just wondering why NASCAR, if they have a Mexico series, do we not hear anything about it? Nothing. I mean, is it publicized in the Mexico City news?
I've heard stuff about it over the years. I just never really follow it because I don't know any of the drivers.
Todd, you and I watched one of their races once, remember?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's when Daniel Suarez was coming up.
Yeah, and I went over to Suarez. I said, something about living in Mexico. A guy goes, "No, man, I live in Charlotte." Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. So the Mexico Series drivers that want to move up into the NASCAR Series got to move to Charlotte, and then they'll be fine,
With their Chevy pickup.
That's how that works. Here's a note that came through this week that I was, I guess we're not surprised at all. Bobby Pierce, the noted late model dirt track driver who's done just spectacular things over the last couple of years, was in a conversation with Richard Childress, and the money that Childress told him it would take to race 1 year in the trucks kind of coincides with some other numbers we have heard. You want to race 1 year in a Richard Childress truck, you got to pay for it for $3.5 million.
Uh-huh.
And there's your schedule, and what exactly do you get for $3.5 million? Well, a truck that could win. And
Bobby's better off sticking to the late model.
That was probably back when the Childress had trucks that ran. I mean, right? I don't think they have trucks in the series anymore. And that
no.
A couple of years ago, Bobby Pierce was looking at some pavement stuff. Remember, he did some races and didn't really turn out too well.
He
raced at Slinger, yeah. So, and I think a lot of those dirt guys were looking that way back then. Remember the one car, Brian, Josh Richards. Remember, he tried and that didn't go so well. McCready, I think, had a couple rides, right?
Yep, McCready ran for Childress for a while. I saw him race at Michigan in the ARCA series there. But now this dirt side stuff is taken such an uplift in the last probably since COVID, when they've really just increased their purses tremendously, and the merchandise sales is crazy. I mean, you talk to some of the, Larson has talked about this before, that he makes more money on his apparel in sprint car racing and the other things that he does that matches what his, some of his salaries over the years have been in NASCAR. His salary is up a lot now since he's won the championship, but before that championship, I mean, these guys are making money. I mean, there's guys, just the Dome alone in St. Louis this past December, when the dirt racing was there, Jonathan Davenport sold 6 figures worth of merchandise.
Oh, my. That's where
he's not the only one.
Oh,
yes.
That's bananas.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they raced on this Bristol track in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Plus, there's been some pretty outstanding racing going on around this country, including right in Wisconsin yesterday. We'll talk all about them and some other results when we come back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years, PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Celebrate 70 years of thrills at Road America this spring and summer. Experience unforgettable moments on our legendary 4-mile track. From the Spring Vintage Weekend, May 16th through the 18th, to the adrenaline-packed Moto America Superbikes and Vintage Moto Fest, May 30th through June 1st, there's excitement for everyone. Join us for the iconic IndyCar Expo Grand Prix presented by AMR, June 19th through the 22nd. Get more confidence on the roads with our motorcycle and driving schools, or tackle the off-road experience. Visit roadamerica.com for tickets and details.
Ready? You want to do this?
The NFL draft is officially open. The Green Bay Packers and hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft.
Stay with the game for the most in-depth draft coverage.
If we find the right players that we think compete and add to our team, we'll certainly do it.
Draft coverage on the game is presented by Pep's Draft House Pizza. Take it to the house with Pep's Draft House.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Dirt track racing finally got underway in the state of Wisconsin. I'm trying to think back over the years of how many times tracks were actually able to open on the date they scheduled to open. And this year, for some reason, it actually worked out perfectly. It was snowing on Wednesday, but we were racing on Friday. Chilton, Wisconsin. The Gravity Park Speedway was the first track to get underway in the state. In their opening night of competition in the modifieds, Marcus Hopner was your winner. Grand Nationals went to Jeff Muehlbauer. Stock Cars, Tyler Wilson. And the Sport Mods went to Cole Thomas. Over in Iowa, Webster City, Iowa, the Hamilton County Speedway, the USMTS Modifieds were there. Rodney Sanders was your winner. Down in Putnamville, Indiana, the Lincoln Park Speedway, the USAC Amsoil National Sprint Cars were there. Kyle Cummins was your winner. Over in Pevely, Missouri, the I-55 Speedway for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, Carson Macedo grabbed the win there. Down in Wheatland, Missouri, the Lucas Oil Speedway, the series formerly known as the Lucas Oil MLRA, which is now gone, but they're going to race anyway, unsanctioned. $7,000 to win. A 2-day special. Hudson O'Neill was your winner on Friday night there. Farmer City, Illinois, for the World of Outlaw late models, the Illini 100. For the first time, I think, in modern memory, 2 years in a row, this race went off without a hitch. Night number one, $12,000 to win. Ethan Dotson, a rookie on the World of Outlaw circuit, picked up the feature win there. That was a very impressive victory by him. The Extreme Outlaw Midgets were the undercard. Jacob Denny was your winner, and the UMP Modifieds went to Mike McKinney. Last night up at Francis Creek, Wisconsin, they opened up their season at the 141 Speedway with a jaw-dropping 182 cars and only 5 divisions. Unbelievable. The IMCA Modifieds, Johnny Whitman was your winner, and the IMCA Stock Cars went to Phil Mott. Over at New Richmond, Wisconsin, the Cedar Lake Speedway opened up as scheduled last night. In the late models, James Giassi was your winner. The USRA Limited Lates went to Cade Nelson, and the Modifieds went to Blake Adams. Night number 2 in Webster City, Iowa, at the Hamilton County Speedway for the USMTS Modifieds, Rodney Sanders made it a clean sweep. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, for the USAC Amsoil National Sprint Cars, Justin Grant grabbed the win. Night number 2 for the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars in Pevely, Missouri's I-55 Speedway, Logan Schuhart grabbed the win. Fayetteville, North Carolina, they had a 602 late model race put on by XR. $50,000 to win in a 602 dirt late model. And Dalton Wilson put one in one of his cars and took home the money. something when the race was probably designed for the little guy to win, but you get that one Lucas Oil guy that says, I'll go do it, and he took their money. Wheatland, Missouri, night number 2 of the Spring Nationals for the late models, $20,000 to win. That went to Hudson O'Neill. And finally, down in Farmer City, Illinois, the second night of the Illini 100, 60 laps. They ran 40 laps Friday, 60 laps on Saturday. That equals 100 for those tough at math. $20,000 to win. Brandon Shepard took the Rocket 1 house car to victory lane. They have struggled mightily for the last year and a half in that Rocket 1 house car. Great to see them get a victory last night, and they picked up the win. In the Outlaw Midgets, Carter Sarf was your winner, and the Modifieds went to Michael Ledford. And that is everything for this week.
Is that the same Cole Thomas that used to race that Slinger, number 91?
Yes, it is. I believe it is.
He's a dirt guy now.
I think he's a sport mod now.
Okay.
All right. And then for the asphalt side of things, ASA Southern Super Series ran at Mobile, Alabama. Your winner was Bubba Pollard. Cars Tour at Cordele Motor Speedway in Georgia. Tristan McKee won the Pro Late Models. 12-year-old Keelan Harvick finished 5th in that Pro Late Model race. In the late model stock car series, Connor Hall was the winner. Minnie Tyrell, Landon Huffman, Landon Lewis, and Connor Jones rounded out the top 5. Michael Hind was there running a Lee Pulliam car, and he finished 8th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was in the field, got wrecked, but he ended up 21st. And then, of course, as everyone was aware, we got Racing Fire into Life again this weekend at Dells Raceway Park for the Icebreaker. You guys were all there, except Todd. And the 602s, it was Danny Church, the winner. John DeAngelis Jr., John Lemke, Dennis Prunty, and Ethan Rose were your top 5. In the Midwest Truck Series, Grant Griesbach was the winner. Chester Ace, Nick Van, Brandon Reichenberger, and Parker Kane were your top 5 there. And then in the Super Lates, Luke Fenhouse was the winner. Tristan Swanson, John DeAngelis Jr., Ryan Farrell, and Casey Johnson rounded out the top 5 on
Busy
that.
weekend for Luke, huh?
Yeah, because he also... Sorry, I've got Toby here, and he's trying to talk, and I can't...
Dan, which one of you talked to him? He drove. They drove all night, I guess, huh?
That was Brian. Brian talked to him in Victory Lane because he did drive from the race from Bristol right to the Dells.
Yeah, I said to Luke, you drove all the way back here because you could tell he probably could use some sleep, And he's like, yeah. As soon as the race was over, we hopped in the car, and it's like a 12-hour drive, and I fell asleep, and someone told me we made up like 2 hours, and I'm like, whoa. Well, now you are gaining an hour on the way back because of the time zone switch.
But that's a lot of time to make up. Somebody was going over the speed limit.
Or his watch wasn't that good, one or the other.
Amazing. You both of you guys were there. Dan ran the camera for the event. It sounded like Luke had a pretty good car, huh?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, started 9th. I mean, there was a lot of carnage at the beginning of that race that took out some of the good cars that you figure were going to compete for the win in that. So that opened it up a little bit for him, but he still drove to the front and bided his time. And the only other car I thought really was going to maybe have a shot at him was Casey Johnson because he seemed to be laying back in the weeds and saving his stuff, but he just never was able to put on that charge at the end. Ryan Farrell had a good car, ran at the front for a while. Jordan Voy was at the front for a while. So overall, once they got spread out and started racing, it was pretty decent competition.
Hey, I kind of want to give a shout-out to Penn Sauter for his first super late race. I thought he had a pretty good run. 7th place finish, qualified 7th, started on the front row, outside pole, and finished 7th in his first event. And against some pretty good cars.
And that was after a very inauspicious start to his qualifying run. He came out on the track and started scrubbing his tires. And I don't know what was going on there, probably nerves, but he's like scrubbing his tires and trying to go at the same time, lost it and backed it in the fence in turn 3 coming to the green for his qualifying lap. So he had to go back in. They repaired the car, went back out, and still laid down a good lap. I went into the pits right after qualifying, and Johnny was all smiles then because he laid down the good lap and said, yeah, it's a learning curve. When you go out there, you got to scrub your tires and then go. You can't do them both at the same time. So he's learning.
That was his first super late model race, wasn't it?
Yep. And they got there late on Friday, so he only got about 50 laps in on Friday, and he did about 30 laps yesterday at practice. So
it's funny. It was a black car. They put a 5 on it, and after qualifying, then it got some orange stripes. They were stickering the car as the day went on.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We'll talk a little more about the Xfinity and the Truck Series after we sneak away for a break. We're glad you tuned in. LTN returns right after these.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Celebrate 70 years of thrills at Road America this spring and summer. Experience unforgettable moments on our legendary 4-mile track. From the Spring Vintage Weekend, May 16th through the 18th, to the adrenaline-packed Moto America Superbikes and Vintage Moto Fest, May 30th through June 1st, there's excitement for everyone. Join us for the iconic IndyCar Expo Grand Prix presented by AMR, June 19th through the 22nd. Get more confidence on the roads with our motorcycle and driving schools, or tackle the off-road experience. Visit roadamerica.com for tickets and details.
For the latest Packers off-season news, inside information, and reaction, keep up with the only media outlet you can trust.
It's like being surrounded by all your friends you don't know who all love the same team.
The Packers flagship 97.3 The Game.
Welcome back to the program. Our friend Toby Noodleman is joining us for this segment, too, so nice to have him here. I just wanted to say Kyle Larson won the Xfinity race yesterday. Carson Kvapil finished second, kind of best in class for a non-driver named Kyle Larson. In the Truck Series on Friday, Chandler Smith was the winner. Kyle Larson finished second in that one. Ty Majeski was involved in some kind of an issue, and I guess because I was at the Brewer game, like I mentioned, and I didn't see it. Luke Fenhouse ended up 22nd in that one. What happened to Ty anyway, Toby? I didn't see it.
He started 8th, and he was up to 2nd, and I just passed for 2nd, and Frankie Muniz. Well, I don't want to say nothing bad, but he should have stuck to acting, right?
No, he was bad there too.
Because he's like 50, I don't know, 50 some laps in, and he's going to be lapped. And Ty made a mistake. He thought he was going to go high. He went high and turned left and took out
coming up
a
on
couple
him.
good. What's that?
Yeah, he was so slow when they were coming up on him to lap him. And I think it was Ty and Brandon Jones. They were going to split him. Brandon Jones went high. Ty went low. Malcolm didn't stay in the middle. He came down, and Ty got him.
That's a good one. That's a
good way to put it.
Yeah. I saw on X all the complaints about the coverage. Apparently, Jamie Little is not a very highly regarded lead announcer. She's great in the pits, but my God, people are just trashing the hell out of her. I don't know how bad it was. I did notice from my place at an establishment before we went into the Brewer game, trying to watch on my phone, which isn't a really good idea because I can't hear. Bailey Curry, I'm going, who the hell is in that 44 truck? Bailey Curry running at the front late in the race. I don't know what happened there. Anybody? Do we know what happened to Bailey Curry? No? Okay. Well,
he was up front. He got caught in a wreck later on, but he ran up front most of the race. And
good for him.
Was actually doing a pretty good job staying up there, but of course, as it push came to shove and things happened, then he got shoveled out of there.
Toby, who were you helping yesterday?
Derek Meyer in a truck.
Those 602s, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of passing. I know that's the same engine in both the trucks and the 602 late models. And we had 1 liter in each race?
Yeah, well, all I'm going to say is they ain't got enough power to hit the other guy to wreck him. So say they ran a whole lot cleaner race than the Supers. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think if they had horns in those trucks, you'd hear them all day long because guys would just bump, 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 and you couldn't get by them. I mean, James Swan looked like he was in traffic in downtown Chicago and couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, well, we know what the issue is. The good news about those engines is that they're affordable and that is creating better car. What were they at? 30-some trucks, didn't they?
32.
Yeah, so it's a nice number. And I think the 602 late models also are on the comeback too. They're how much are those engines? Do we know, Tob?
About $8,000. You got to dress them and put a bunch of stuff on. You probably got $10,000 into them when you're done.
And they're pretty strict about them, though. There's not
this particular truck. It hasn't been raced a lot, but the motor's been in it for years, 3-4 years. Ty raced it like 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, we have a 604 in our limited late, which is the same basic thing, only with aluminum heads, a little more power. That's what we started with, more or less, with Ty, and we won. That thing's probably we ran it like 4 or 5 years, and I'll bet you we got 300 races on that thing. I mean, it's crazy.
What would you say would be an estimate of the engine, what it cost Luke Fenhaus to have an engine that was capable of winning at the Dells yesterday?
$30,000 to $35,000.
And
I don't know which. I don't know which one he had in. He's got one old, and I know he's got one old motor that's been around for years. That's part of the 2-barrel thing. They last longer, and everybody thinks you got to have a 4-barrel motor to run like the Slinger. You got to have a special motor to go to. You got to have a special. Basically, you got to have a special motor, 2-barrel motor to keep up. Well, I run the same motor and everything. We have parts motors. We have sealed motors. It's the same motor. I just change the carburetor. So if you think you got to put lighter parts in it because you can with a 2-barrel, because it's basically 100 less horsepower, right, from a 4 to a 2.
Oh, okay.
Why we just run the same stuff?
100.
Whatever.
There's that from being a novice on engine things. To me, it's easier to get around Slinger with a 2-barrel. It's easier attacking the corners. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I say when a 4-barrel, you're not going to be able to pretty much put it right on the floor when you come off the corner, and you're going to carry a whole lot of speed down the straightaway, and then all of it's going to be, oh shit, here comes the corner, and now you're going to use a lot of brakes. You're gonna melt the brakes out of it.
All right. Well, we're getting short on time. We're going to go and do our picks. And Toby, you're going to be able. Why don't you give us the first? You can be first today for the Bristol show.
Yeah, I'll take Kyle Larson.
Okay, that's easy, I think. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch because Kyle cannot keep losing. He's got to win sooner or later. This is a good place for him. Dan.
Keeping the roll going, the 11 car Denny Hamlin.
Okay. I hope you're wrong. Brian?
20, Christopher Bell.
Yeah, at the end of this race, likely, I think we're going to look at the 5 and the 20 battling it out at the end, and it's going to be pretty good. And then they'll be thinking, "Boy, I wish there was dirt on this place again," or not. Anyway, hey, thanks for tuning in. Here's what we want you to remember: real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer is Matt Losey, and for all of us involved with the program, we love you, and we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.